We are live, it says. Let's see.
Is Man of Steel's on HBO Max, right?
More than likely, I have it on my.
I own it, so
Yeah.
I just wanted to double check.
Yeah, I would assume it probably is.
God, I just got freaking triggered right now. I opened HBO Max, and I think it was like 3 weeks ago. I was just looking at something on the Justice League movie on Justice League.
Yeah.
And so like as soon as I open HBO Max, it has the Justice League logo.
Oh no.
And it's just like halfway finished. And I'm like, oh no, this is the last time. This is the last time I'll have to see that thing.
Yeah. No way.
Let's see here.
Oh yeah, that's what me and Joe were talking about earlier. Is this is the last time I'm going to see Man of Steel and BVS before Justice League comes out, and still I'm never watching the other one again. I think before Justice League comes out, like I said on the recording earlier, I'm probably going to delete it from my Movies Anywhere account.
I just pressed play on Man of Steel.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Zack Snyder's Justice League trailer. Right before.
Nice. That's awesome. That is awesome. So I assume it is on HBO Max.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about Man of Steel, man. You said you want to talk about it. I was gonna watch Man of Steel and then BVS and then go straight into Justice League, but I kind of now I'm really interested in watching this Zack Snyder red carpet event, so I'm gonna watch that instead of BVS because I've already watched BVS 4 times in the last 7 or 8 days, so I'm good with that. I don't need to watch it again. I think. I mean, I don't need a reason to, and it's not that I don't want to, but this Zack Snyder red carpet event's pretty big, I think. And then, man, we're getting close, dude. I'm so excited. When I was at work today, I finished my route like 2.5 hours early. And my boss was like, what is going on? And I was like, my hands were shaking. I was so excited to get out of work. And I was like, oh, I'm getting so close. And like they are now just sitting here talking about it, man. I'm so amped for this movie. And
I will be completely honest with this new job. So I work at a pet resort now. Tons of dogs. But the big thing about that is basically it's treated like a daycare. So my phone cannot be on my person at all. Just because if it is on me, then I have the tendency to like look at it and then I can't be watching the dogs and something could happen and then I'm liable and then all sorts of stuff. Mm-hmm. So, dude, I have never like felt my pockets as much as I did today. Cause like, I didn't know if anything was going to happen, if they were going to like drop it early or anything like that. So I was just like, oh God, like I literally had like the fear of missing out, FOMO, like all day today. And I was just like, oh God, I need to get home. I need to get home. So I'm so excited.
Yeah. I was talking to Nathan earlier and I was telling him, I don't think I've been this excited about anything since like the birth of my children, my wedding day. There's not a lot of stuff that I've been this excited for. And it's crazy to put it in that kind of category, but it's just been such a long buildup and so much anticipation. And, you know, I finally get to see the semi-completion to this story or you know, where and you never know where it's going in the future.
Exactly, dude.
So, but let's talk about where it started.
Dude, so let me paint you a picture. I didn't go into depth with this just because it's always like, I always talk about it in passing, but I think it's just like super important to my life. This trailer for the very first teaser trailer for Man of Steel came out right in front of The Dark Knight Rises. And there was 2. There was one trailer that had Jor-El's voice and then one trailer that had Jonathan Kent's voice. The trailer that I got at my theater was the one with Jonathan Kent. That like I was freaking out when I saw it. I was kind of like I wasn't in the know as much as I am now, but I did kind of like hear rumblings of a Man of Steel, like we were gonna be able to see like a first look pretty soon, blah blah. And when I was there at that midnight premiere for The Dark Knight Rises, when I just see this speck of a Superman hit the sound barrier going straight up into the sky, I flipped. I jumped out of my seat. I screamed. Everybody was telling me to chill. The movie hadn't even started yet. Dude, it was so good.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say it's funny because I did not even really like Superman that much. I didn't read Superman much when I was younger, and I wasn't just wasn't a huge fan of it. So when I heard about this movie and I saw stuff about it, I wasn't really excited at all. Like, just like, okay, cool, Superman. I'm not a huge fan of the Donner Superman movies. So when I saw the first picture of it for the first time, and that was Henry Cavill in the suit, and he's standing in front of that bank vault that he gets slammed against by
Yeah,
the I saw that picture, and I was like, "This might be something. Like this might be all right." You know, didn't go see it in theaters. So did not go see it in theaters. First time I saw it, I think was on Blu-ray or on a home version, and
oh man,
ended up falling in love with it. And I was like, "Well, I'll never do that again." Like, I'll never judge something like that just because I didn't like it before, and then go into like, I'm going to give everything a chance. And my second favorite movie of all time.
I remember so the whole thing with the teaser trailer, that thing happened. And then there was a time in my life that I was homeless. And I've said this before on Super Civil Servants. I was couch hopping, everywhere in College Station, Texas, with all my friends, family, whatever. And there was a time that I was staying at my friend John's house, and he had to go to work. And he's like, "You can just chill here, and just do whatever." And I had a phone, but it was basically just like a paperweight, unless I had Wi-Fi, because I didn't have like actual service. I just used it for Wi-Fi. I could be on Facebook or whatever. So on Facebook, people were like, the Man of Steel trailer #2 came out. And I was like, what? I turned it on his computer. I logged into his computer. 3 seconds in with that 2-note theme. Dude, chills. Like, I'm getting them now. I'm getting them now. So chills, and you hear Martha's voice talking about an island, and you see the young Clark. I'm starting to tear up. Like, I'm starting to really feel emotion. Dude, that was the day that I saw fucking Superman, like, in real life.
Yeah.
Like, it was everything that I wanted. And then from that point on, by the time Man of Steel came out, and by the time I saw it in theaters, I had my own place. I was living healthy. Like, I remember buying my IMAX tickets for the movie with that Walmart special that they were doing. It was IMAX. It was IMAX 3D. So I will say the 3D actually messed up in my first viewing. So my first viewing wasn't great. But it was still everything I wanted in a Superman movie. Yeah. My dad basically raised me as a Superman fan. Yeah. He grew up loving Superman. I think his very first story that he read was God, he always used to tell me, I can't remember it now. But the very ironic thing about, him loving Superman and then me entering his life is I came into this world around the same time that Superman was dead in comics.
Yeah.
And I was like, boom. See, Superman dies and then he is reborn. He is me. I am Superman. I would always joke around with him with that. And the Life and Death of Superman was actually my introduction to comics. And it wasn't even in comic book form. There was a Roger Stern 350 something page novel of the death and life of Superman. It's the comic just in written form. It's amazing. And he said, if you can finish this, then you can start buying comics. And I was like,
done.
Let's go.
Let's do it. Yep.
I actually want to see. I actually want to see if I can find that in like Audible nowadays.
That would be cool. I wish I could get a lot of like graphic novels in an audio form. I mean, I know you can go on YouTube and listen to people read them.
Well, that's
in like dramatic form, and I guess you could listen to that if you want to. But
I don't know if DC is watching, but That's the whole reason why I'm going to Full Sail. Is I want to be an audio engineer, and that's what I want to do. I want to make
nice.
audio dramas for comic books. So
Nice. Let me know when you do some voice actors, man. I got you.
Dude, I don't know if I've told you, or at least even shared it with you. I have a like 2-minute audio of Nightwing #1 from the New 52. My voice narrating, and I did all the sounds. It's like
nice.
Like action. You hear the environment, you hear weather, you hear a train, like you hear everything that you would possibly see on the comic. I did it all. So
nice.
I'll just send that to you.
Yeah, definitely, man. I love that.
Going back to this movie.
Yeah.
Man of Steel. The one thing that I think every Superman movie wanted to do was make it into this sci-fi. Because even the Donner films, you got to see Krypton. A lot of people don't remember, but you legitimately got to see a little bit of Krypton. It was all like in the buildings or whatever, but you still saw it. Even with Superman Returns, you saw a little bit of it with the crystals and everything else.
Right.
This genuinely feels like a sci-fi movie, and seeing this very beautiful opening with Jor-El and Lara and Zod, like this, like you saw that there was heavy stakes in this beginning. I loved it.
Yeah, you get right into it from the beginning. I did not expect him to start out like that the first time I saw it. I absolutely love it. I could watch an entire movie about just that last week of Krypton, or what's going on in Krypton, because I absolutely love the way it worked. And the casting in this movie is so fantastic. The acting in this movie is so fantastic. I mentioned that before. It's just the visuals are beautiful. Krypton was such a cool place and such a great idea. It's like I said before, this movie made me care about Superman, and that's first and foremost why Henry Cavill is my Superman. I'm not saying nobody else can play him or anybody else who has done terrible jobs, but this is the guy who got me into liking Superman, like reading Superman, watching Superman. It just, even when I would see him in other mediums, it was just like it's Superman. Now I look at it in a totally different light, and the fact that he opened up with that Krypton scene and didn't do a short flashback of this and that as the story's going on. I love that. It was just perfect.
And as a Superman fan, it's always like mind-boggling how people are like, I don't get him. I don't get Superman. I'm like, how do you not get this guy? But I really appreciate what Zack has done for this character. He has grounded Superman in such a way to make him feel so relatable, but so alien at the exact same time.
Yes.
And that was the whole point of Clark Kent. That was the whole point of Superman. And this idea of, hey, what would the world look like if Superman was living in this world? Not in the comic book world, but in this world. That was the exact same idea that Nolan had for Batman.
And Perry White even says it in this movie. He's like, what's the world going to do if they know a guy like this exists? And that's the whole crux of the movie right there.
Yeah.
So I just can't stand people talking about, and I get it. Like I said, it's not that I can't stand. I get people have their opinions and they have their ideas, but I don't understand why people talk about this Superman not smiling, not being an emotional Superman. I wrote down when I was watching it this time all the emotional moments where not necessarily it like made me want to cry, but I was like, oh my gosh, or just something that hit me and was in Superman. It's like the first meeting with the first time you meet Jor-El, Superman's first flight, the ideal to strive towards. Martha and Lois meeting for the first time is crazy. Jonathan Kent with a death scene, absolutely heartbreaking. Martha Kent talking to Clark when he's younger about the world being too big and make the world small. Like, there's so many moments in this, man, where it just gets you.
And you're genuinely like,
you are my son. Like, oh my gosh. And I don't understand why people don't feel that. I'm not saying you're wrong or stupid if you don't. I just don't understand why when you see that, you're not like, wow, that really sucks you in, or does me.
Yeah. And what I've heard more often than not, and I'm not saying you cannot enjoy this movie if you're not a father, but there's so many people who have children that see this movie and they're like, yes, I get it. I understand. This is exactly what I would do in every single one of these situations. I have to understand what Clark is feeling in these moments. And yes, that is how I'm going to respond. That's how I'm going to raise him and things like that. You know, Laura and Jor-El, this, you know, it's a very iconic scene, and there's nobody in the world that would be like, no, you wouldn't send them to Earth. Yeah, you would. Like, you are letting your child live for the sake of all of their existence and all of their species, basically. So there's that. And I know we're going to be jumping ahead, and I don't know exactly how we want to do this.
I don't care. However you want to, man.
But everybody talks crap. Everybody talks crap about the tornado scene. And the reasoning that I see, and there's been many explanations, there's plenty of reasons why it happened the way it is. But for one, we know because of the flashbacks and the way they are presented, Clark doesn't have all of his powers.
Right.
He is only learning throughout time about all these powers that he has. We don't know exactly where he's at in that moment. Yeah, he probably could have, like, he probably would have super speed, but how well is his invulnerability?
Right. Or how well does he know how to use the super speed? You can make a situation worse if you don't know how to use it, I would think. So,
and again, there's these moments, and even, I mean, I don't know exactly how old your oldest child is, and you don't have to say it here because we're live, but the fact that, like, John stopped him and said, no, like, don't, is because, and Clark even says it, he knew that if I were to show myself at that moment in time, it would have been the wrong time.
The world wasn't ready.
Yes.
And he showed the sacrifice that you have to make sometimes for that cause, you know? So I think it all ties back into BVS and making the sacrifice at the end. You know, it's just so beautifully written. I love it.
It is so, like, and I think that's going to be one of the things that is going to get me tonight. If we see John, game over. Like, the waterworks are gonna be activated to 100%. Like,
yeah,
like that's just gonna be, because I've always loved freaking Kevin Costner in almost anything, but I think the role of Jonathan Kent, he has played so well.
Oh yeah. Think about how cool you got to be to have Russell Crowe and Kevin
Costner as your
father. Yeah, like that's insane. That's some pretty cool dads to have. Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna see him tonight. We may hear a voice, you know, maybe Star Wars-esque voices in the background.
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling with. That's what I'm feeling with Jor-El. I think there's a good chance we may see Jonathan Kent in the same capacity that we saw him in BVS, which is basically of the mind, you know.
Yeah, just a quick scene, a memory. Yeah, or not a memory, but yeah.
You know, it was Clark talking to himself, but to his dad.
Right.
You know. But yeah, man, I'm man, what is it? It's 10, so 4 hours and counting.
Yeah, I thought this red carpet event was supposed to start at 8 p.m. Pacific. Isn't that 9 Eastern Standard, or excuse me, 11 Eastern Standard? No.
Yes. No. You're right.
I can't find it, but
it might be on HBO Max.
Well, it was all you could see it on YouTube. Let me check it out on YouTube. I don't know. Anyway, we're talking Man of Steel right now. Anyway, so if I'll watch it. Nothing's gonna stop me from 4 hours watching Zack Snyder Justice League. So, dude, we're 4 effing hours away, man.
Dude, I told, like, my wife right now, she went ahead and went to bed, and she's like, why are you wearing that jacket right now? And I was like, it's happening. She's like, what do you mean? I was like, tonight, it's happening. She's like, it's tonight? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, and you're gonna stay up? I was like, yeah. So we're probably gonna watch it together this weekend, but
Okay.
I'm probably gonna watch it back to back, like 2 times tonight. I'll watch it once to watch it, and then I'll watch it again to see if there's any nods to anything, see if I can pick up on Easter eggs, fun things like that. So that way we have some stuff to talk about on Super Civil Servants on Friday.
Yeah, I know that I'm going to watch it at 3 o'clock in the morning when it comes out, and I'm not going to take any notes. I'm not going to do anything like that. I'm just going to watch it, soak it all in, enjoy it, love it, and then I'll probably take my kids to school, and then come back, which is fun, and then come back and I'll watch it again, and I'll take notes and everything else. So by the time I do the Geek Ultimate Alliance, the DC Alliance podcast one tomorrow night, which check that out, y'all, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. DC Alliance tomorrow night. We're going to cover it. I'll have watched it twice. And then by the time we do it on Super Civil Servants on Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live on YouTube, come check all that out. I'll have watched it 3 times probably, if I had to assume.
Very nice.
So I'll have a good understanding of this movie, I feel. And by then, I'm sure I'll listen to a few other reviews. Although I try not to listen to other reviews until I've done mine. So that way I don't feel like I'm like stealing from somebody else, or I'm just copying somebody else. I want to do mine, and then I'll listen to everybody else's reviews.
I will say I've listened to 2 non-spoiler reviews. One was 7 minutes long. The other one was 2 minutes long.
Okay.
And basically the one thing that they both said was, "You're not ready." And that's the only thing I can remember.
That's what I've been reading.
I can't remember anything else from those reviews other than the fact that they said you were not ready.
Mm-hmm. I've only seen one person say something bad about it.
Well, I was.
But you're gonna get that.
Was it IGN that came out and said some stuff too?
I think that might have been who it was IGN. Somebody said how it wasn't a new movie. It was the exact same thing, the same core story with a few deleted scenes added to it. And
there was also somebody, I can't remember who said it, that said all this was a what? How did they word it? They said this was making a bad movie less bad. And I'm like,
that's exactly what it was. I think that wasn't the IGN, because I remember that line specifically. Yeah. No. And I haven't seen it yet, so there's no definitive way that I can say you're wrong, but I'd be willing to bet you're wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm willing to bet that that these people, you can say all you want as far as like this is pandering to fans and everything else, blah blah blah, but that's what the MCU does. The MCU says, hey, this is our demographic and this is what we're going to appeal to.
It's business. It's what you should do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is exactly, Zack has said it already. Zack has said Marvel is doing this and they are the best at it.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot replicate it, so I'm not going to try.
Yeah.
I'm going to do something different, and this is what I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And he proved that with Man of Steel. Like the moment, the way that is different is the moment, because I'm literally watching it right now as we talk.
Yeah.
This moment here that I'm watching right now at the oil spill.
Oh, good.
That is how you know this is a different movie.
Mm-hmm.
He is saving people without the S, without the suit, without the cape. And he is just this like grizzly of a man, I will say. I will not lie at all. After this scene, when you see him come up in that little town and he starts walking up to those laundry lines and starts grabbing all the clothes and stuff, holy crap. That was the first time I looked at Henry Cavill and I was like,
guys,
I'm confused.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is great because they instill this moment in him later on whenever his dad's talking to him and he tells him, you have to decide what kind of man you're going to be, good or bad. But either way, it's going to change the world. And that's in his mind, decide what kind of man you're going to be. and you were seen here for a reason. There's so many times that this is pushed into him to be that guy, you know.
And Greg, truthfully, not as a Zack Snyder fan, not as a Man of Steel fan, if you had a child, doesn't even have to be a boy or girl, if they could do the things that Clark was able to do, what would you say to that person that is doing the things that he's doing, saving people on a bus? Like, you don't know how to react.
I know I wouldn't react nearly as well as Kevin Costner does, but
because Clark asks, what was I supposed to do? Just let him die? And he says, no, maybe.
And that's the dilemma.
He is trying to protect his son. That is it. Like, he's not trying to be this person that is like, oh, I'm going to keep you to ourselves and you're going to make us rich one day. No, he is trying to protect him as his son. And he knows that there's probably some weird freaking scientist, whatever, that wants to dissect him, that wants to do crazy things to him. If people saw what he could do, you don't know the bounds of what they will do to get that person. So, yeah, it is heartbreaking. And that's the point. That is the whole point. People who are the people who are complaining are like, oh, well, this is just too sad, or, you know, this is depressing seeing Jonathan Kent like this. Like, how else is he supposed to act? Like, this is a completely normal child? Like,
right.
He's not.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's because I guess you're right. When I do see him and think about animation and comics I have read, it's generally a happy-go-lucky, you know, more type guy. So yeah, I guess he is way more down to earth. Jonathan Kent is, but look, man, you're right. You're bringing it down to a level that we can relate to. You know, it's comic book, but it's not comic booky.
Yeah,
if that makes any sense. And that's a different take on things, and that's what we want. Not saying that other takes on comic books are not, you know, are just off the wall and unbelievable. I'm just saying this is just a more realistic take on it. I feel the way the world would be with these kind of things. And I guess you kind of have to, because DC is more about godlike figures than just superheroes, you know, so it's a different take on how they would be, you know, perceived by the people. Did you have something to say?
Well, you know, just like you were saying, DC has always been known as the, like, gods among men. That was their thing, you know. And Marvel was the whole it was men trying to like they were super grounded. Like, if you look at Marvel versus DC, not in the sense of like who's better, but looking at differences, Marvel deals with a lot more human aspects of things.
This is true. Yeah.
Except for mutants, of course.
Yeah.
DC, these people, like, they are alienated to the rest of the world. Like Wonder Woman in Themyscira, Aquaman in Atlantis, Superman from Krypton, you know, Batman being the isolated loner who has, you know, sworn his life of, you know, wanting to protect Gotham and anybody from not becoming him. You know, there's so many things that elevate them to a level that nobody on Earth can get to. And that was the whole point, you know, just saying, hey, this is how we differ from everything. And the fact that Zack Snyder was able to take that idea and literally make it into a reality in live action, that is awesome.
Yeah, it is. And he did a great job. And you know, one thing I love about Zack Snyder's movies is the castings. And I think, although I love Henry Cavill as Superman, Clark Kent, I really think the Michael Shannon casting was one of the best castings he had on here. Zod's performance, and I didn't like this actor much before.
I didn't think he was going to come out. I saw Michael Shannon and I rolled my eyes.
Yeah,
I said,
too.
I said, this is not going to be great. Like, now, I had all the confidence in the Superman movie, but seeing Michael Shannon's casting for General Zod, like, everything Michael Shannon had been in is like gangster films. And like he was the stereotypical, like, oh, I'm the beat thug that's just gonna come for your money and da da da, you know?
Yeah.
So being General Zod, I was like, no way. There's no way he could do that. And holy crap,
he killed it. He absolutely killed it, man.
Like you were showing your favorite gifs of the trilogy of Man of Steel, BVS, and you know what will eventually be Zack Snyder's Justice League. And that moment when you see Zod truly like adapt to using his powers,
when he pops out of the armor suit and flies for the first.
He's like, "Where did you train? On a farm?" And then you just see him fly. You're like, "Oh shit!" Like, this is when it's gonna happen. Like, this is when it's gonna go down. And Zack Snyder is such a fucking visionary. People don't understand that until this movie, there was always a dream for me to like see a comic book panel brought to life. And I had never gotten it before. Never. Like, when you see Superman fight in Smallville with the Kryptonians.
Great scene.
Where they're hovering literally like just like a few inches above the ground, pulling at the capes, punching each other, like that whole sequence, and even the sequence with Zod, that is literal comic book to come to life. Like,
oh yeah,
the power behind Superman's punches, you can see, yes, he's destroying the city, but guess what? It's literally his first day on the job. Like, I'm sorry, like that will.
And an unexpected attack by aliens. What can you do? I don't see anybody else complaining about any other movies where aliens attack and people get hurt. And like it's in the middle of a city. No other movie is there a war? Is there a pop-up war in the middle of a city and people complain about stuff getting hurt except for DC?
How many people got upset in the movie Predator when the Predator killed everybody?
Right.
How many people got upset when aliens killed people? And aliens, like,
and I'm not going to name specific superhero movies. I'm not trying to bring any movie down, but every superhero movie, whenever there's some kind of thing that's involved where people are fighting in a city and it's unexpected, there's always going to be casualties and there's always destruction, and nobody says anything. Television shows, it's just crazy how it's picked out so differently in this one.
No, I'm gonna pick something out because it did in fact make a point to show people getting saved, which was the very first Avengers movie. I will go ahead and put that out there. The very first Avengers movie, you saw people being saved. They had some really cool points in that, you know?
Yeah.
But there is a moment where Hulk and Thor are riding on this giant freaking Leviathan thing, and they crash into the freaking train station. I'm sorry. Like, if you think all of New York is completely desolate of people,
right,
you're wrong.
Right.
Like, there has got to be a couple stragglers, like somewhere.
Yeah.
And there's got to be people that died. Like, I'm sorry.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
like
because
nothing
it's
wrong with that at all,
realistic.
because it's realistic. Exactly. It's more the way things happen. And you know, going back to this scene, you know, the first scene, the first fight scene you see him in where he's fighting Feor, and I can't remember the other one's name. I love it because this is after he's turned himself in for the first time and all this other stuff. He goes to the priest after Zod has announced his presence and gives Kal-El 24 hours to come and to turn himself in. And the priest tells him, he's like, you know, he tells the priest, I don't know if I can trust humans. I don't know if I can trust Zod. And the priest tells him sometimes it takes a leap of faith and the trust comes later. So he takes the leap by turning himself in and then fighting for them. and then they trust him. And I love how that all comes back around. It's like, okay, he learned that lesson from that one guy, the human who taught him that lesson. Like he's learning lessons. It's just perfect. I loved it.
Oh
Loved
yeah.
it. Loved it. Loved it. Because they were even attacking him at the beginning of that scene until he saves. I can't remember the commander's name. Which, by the way, the fight between him and Phil, he was about to go down with a knife. You know, a good death is a what does it say? A good death is its own reward.
Yeah.
Yeah. That guy was badass.
And I'm sorry, like the idea and the actor, I can't remember the guy's name, but he was, of course, on Law and Order. Like he's always said, like his character is still alive. Zack, I'm pretty sure, has said that they are still alive in the Phantom Zone. Like, I would even like we have been all over the place with Snyderverse talk and everything else. But just imagine a world where Zack Snyder's Justice League is out in freaking 3.5 hours. It blows up.
I'm imagining it. Yeah.
The sensation all over the world is like, you know what? The Snyder universe is going to live in HBO Max. Imagine a 6-part miniseries of Feyora and the General having to work together to escape the Phantom Zone.
That would be really, really awesome. And you know something that I just thought about as well, too, because we read the storyboards on Justice League, 2 and 2A, and what they were supposed to be. And is it the third one that starts out with Green Lantern coming to Earth, frantically looking for his partner and that?
Yeah.
What if you wrote that in there where he went in the Phantom Zone, was in space, and comes back as Green Lantern? Like,
I would be down for it.
Like, I know he's a little bit old for the part.
Well, no, like, but the thing is, if he's worthy of the ring, then he's worthy of the ring.
I feel like the way he sacrificed himself.
If there is a Green Lantern in the Phantom Zone, and he's just so happens to die, that ring needs a successor. Like,
yeah. Oh man, that'd be pretty cool. I like either one of those ideas. I'd be down for it. So let's talk about, I want your opinions on this, because me and Nathan have talked about this a lot, and he's kind of changed my mind about it. Talk to me about the next snap.
Okay, so
where do you stand on that?
So when I first watched it, the very first time I watched it in that horrible 3D first viewing, the neck snapped, and like I almost had like that like that sudden like heat that you feel throughout your body when you just feel sick.
Right before you're about to throw up. Yeah. The rush. Yep. I know what you mean.
I had that.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa. Like Superman just killed somebody. Then he yelled, he cried, and the end of the movie happened. I was with my friend Sheila when I went to go see it, and I asked her, I was like, "What'd you think?" And she's like, "I don't know about the ending, man. I just don't know." I was like, "Okay, let me watch it again." So the very next weekend, I went to go see it again, and dude, like, you see it on his face, and we said this last time in Super Silver Servants. Henry Cavill's facial acting is amazing. He's able to just give people this sense of whatever that character is supposed to be feeling. And this whole idea is that Clark, he says Krypton had its chance. Like, we're not going to destroy the Earth so you can have Krypton.
Yeah.
We have to live our own lives. And of course, Zod, living his mission, is going to be pissed about it.
Yeah. I mean, justifiably so.
Yeah.
I understand, just two different agendas.
And Clark, like, fighting tooth and nail to the very end. He knows that, let's say, Clark does not know how the Phantom Zone works.
Right.
He's
He's just learned where he's come from a day or two beforehand.
He does not know how he is going to keep Zod subdued if he finally beats him. What is he going to do? Keep him on the ship? Well, how is he going to do that?
Yeah.
And so when Zod shows his true colors and says, you know what? I'm going to kill this family right in front of your face.
Mm-hmm. Well, he said he's going to kill them all.
Yeah.
All the humans you love, he's going to kill them all. Yeah.
And Clark sees at that point, like, there is no stopping this. Like, he will continue to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And so he just does it. He snaps his neck, dude. And it kills him to do it. Yeah. And I think that's what most people stop. They stop at the next step.
Mm-hmm.
They don't move to the emotions afterward.
Yeah.
They don't know what Clark is thinking in those moments. He just killed the closest thing to family to him.
Mm-hmm. Really the last of his kind other than him that he knows of.
Yeah.
You know? I think, okay, so my thing was, I kind of mixed emotions about it when I saw it. One, because like I said, I wasn't attached to Superman, really. I know he has this moral compass and he's a good guy and he doesn't kill, but that's kind of every superhero's thing. Like, most superheroes don't kill. Mm-hmm. If there are some superheroes who bend the rules, and if it's in the middle of battle, they're a little more lenient with how, gentle they'll be with their opponents. But for the most part, superheroes don't kill. So seeing this kind of confused me, but I wasn't upset about it because I understood the point he was coming from. It confused me because I was thinking to myself, if you have this guy's head and you're telling me his head turning is stronger than your hands and your arms. Like, you can't just turn his head away. And Nathan kind of explained that for me. And he raised a really, really good point about it, where it was Zod's head and his strength against, Superman turning the other way, trying to stop him. And it's like, you had to imagine like somebody arm wrestling. And like sometimes when you're arm wrestling somebody, like it can be a stalemate and you can be going and somebody just gives out. And maybe that's what just happened was at that point, it just gave out. But I don't mind. And Nathan's probably going to kill me because I probably didn't explain that as well as he says. I know he's going to listen to this. I'll probably be talking to him in a few hours. I know he's going to be up going to work. So, but it didn't bother me that much, man. And you're right. The emotion from it was so heartfelt and real. Like, it just felt like it. And I look at it as that's the moment, because this movie is Superman learning to be Superman. That's the moment where Superman decides, I'm not going to kill. I'm going to do everything I can to not kill. I think he felt that way anyway, but now he knows what it feels like to have to do it. And sometimes you've got to feel that to know, I never want to feel this again.
Yeah.
So
like, and it's not, we're not saying that like, it's something like I'm going to put my hand on the burner and then that's going to teach me not to do it. It's this sense of like, hey, this is what I felt was the only thing I could do because of how freaking monstrous he is, how he was not going to stop, how he was then making it his mission to create an entire planet like Krypton. And if that wasn't going to happen, his next mission was to kill every single person on Earth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. Like, your only option is either take him to the Phantom Zone, which he doesn't know how to do.
Well, he tried to do. Remember? Well, him, Lois, and that. But
they figured it out a little bit. They don't know the exact whatever. They did as much as they could with the other Kryptonians and Fiora. So there's that. But because of that, they don't know how to open it again. Because if they would have probably went out for the general, right?
Right.
So they don't know if there's a chance to open that Phantom Zone. So that is off the table. That is it. So what's the next thing you're going to do? I have to kill him. I
agree. I mean, I'm sorry, but I agree 100% that's the only option there. And can I point out too, doesn't the Donner Zod get killed by Superman too?
Yes.
Doesn't Superman also throw him down and kill him? So
not only that. So here's the thing, Greg. Zod had all of his powers here in Man of Steel. Snapped his neck, Dunzo.
Mhm.
Superman tricked Zod into getting rid of his powers, thus making him almost human, because technically he's still a Kryptonian. So physiology and everything else, let it be what it is.
Right.
He now has 0 powers. Doesn't have super strength. Doesn't have flight. Doesn't have invulnerability. Nothing. Superman grabs him by the stomach, lifts him over his head, throws him against the Fortress of Solitude inner walls,
bounces off like a bank shot.
and he falls down and into his death.
Yeah. And nobody says anything about that.
No.
Like, it's just crazy when I think about that, because I know when I heard the first argument about how terrible that was and Superman doesn't do that, I was like, wait a second. I don't like the Donner movies that much. They're not terrible movies. They're just not my cup of tea for Superman. I think that was done way before its time. Like, but
Superman, if you ever have the chance to watch, what documentary was it? I think there's a documentary that Ryan Reynolds actually narrates. And it's like the life of Superman from like the creation of Superman all the way up until Man of Steel, I think.
Okay.
And they talk about everything, right? And you see like the roller coaster of a fucking ride Superman has had.
Oh yeah.
Like he's had the George Reeves from the Superman TV show. Then George Reeves dies. And then, they do the Superboy show. They do another Superman show. Like, then there's the whole thing with the Reeves curse, with George Reeves, Christopher Reeves. Like, then there's this whole thing of like whoever becomes Superman will eventually just like either die or have a horrible career.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's like the Madden cover curse.
Exactly that. Because I mean, regardless of where you stand in politics, Dean Cain is not really working anymore. And as superstitious as you may be, some people may call that, well, that's because he's part of the Superman curse,
Yeah, it's very possible.
It's whatever. And so having Superman where he is now compared to where he was, yes, you could definitely say it was done way before his time. But they had some pretty good runs with Superman. One of my favorites is the Superman radio show back in 1941. They made freaking Billboard charts with this show. It is an audio drama. You can find it somewhere. But
yeah, I'm sure I looked for hard.
Superman was fighting Nazis. He was doing all sorts of stuff. One point he fought a werewolf, like crazy stuff. But like that's where my inspiration comes from with wanting to create audio dramas, is because Superman was he was at the forefront of all that back in the 40s. Like there was entire families that would sit in front of their radios listening to this thing broadcast live. And
that's so crazy.
It's so cool.
Yeah, it is cool. It's just crazy.
And to get from there back to where we are, and just like you, there are many people that wanted nothing to do with Superman until Man of Steel.
Yeah.
And I think that has a lot to say for what they've made this character.
And I'll be honest, part of my not being that into Superman was a little bit my fault, because I had it in my mind. I was like, well, this is a guy who's, has invulnerability, flight, super strength, like it's unbeatable.
Yeah.
Unless you have this little rock. I was like, why do I want to read that guy?
That was the biggest argument for anything. Like, why would you read about somebody who cannot lose?
Yeah.
That is always. And one of the really cool things is you just recently, and for right now, are going through the animated universe of DC.
Mhm.
Bruce Timm, who created Batman, the animated series, and Superman, the animated series, if you watch the Superman animated series special features on the DVD, they talked about Superman is a god among men. We can't just have him win everything in 2 seconds.
Right.
That's why when you see that show, like the little laser blasters, they hurt him. Every punch of every villain in that show does something to him.
Right.
They lowered his power skills. And that's okay. Like it's not like he was, then like the worst superhero ever.
Mm-hmm. He's still Superman.
But you had to set the tone to make it worth watching.
Right.
And you do the exact same thing here with Man of Steel. You literally do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
You make him into this kid that is, of course, very relatable. Every child has felt alienated in some capacity. Yeah. If it's because some people just won't talk to them, whether it's because they're bad at sports, so they kind of get chosen last on the dodgeball team or whatever. We see that part of Clark in this movie. Same thing with, trying to, find your place in the world, trying to find a job. I am 29 years old, and as sad as it is, I've had more than 20 jobs. Like, just I was going back and forth, because for me personally, it was more of like, hey, is this really what I want to be doing? And that's besides the point. But like Superman, Clark, going from job to job to job, yes, he was kind of hiding, quote unquote, but I could relate to him in that capacity.
Yeah.
And then here, when he finally becomes Superman, it's not, hey, I'm going to finish this fight in 2 seconds. He's fighting against another Kryptonian that is 10 times more experienced than him.
Mm-hmm. Trained in combat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yes, he's going to make mistakes because somebody is going to be mopping the floor with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the other thing too. Is I don't understand people talking about his power set not being right, and that's the thing is this is him learning to be Superman, and once again he's fighting a guy who's fought his whole life. I guess the handicap for Zod would be just getting to Earth, but I feel like once you adapt to that atmosphere, which I feel like Zod did, you'd be pretty full powered, and that's why it was so difficult for Superman.
Yeah,
love this movie, dude. Absolutely love this movie. I'm trying to think. Are there any other key points about this movie you wanted to hit?
I mean, we talked about Jonathan, talked about Jor-El,
Zod, Lois Lane.
I was just about to say Lois.
Yeah. Okay.
So we get this whole aspect of her, like her first real introduction into this world with Clark is in Antarctica, right?
Yes, where he's Joe and he's carrying her bags. Yeah,
dude. I will say I did not realize that was Clark, Henry Cavill, until the second viewing.
Yeah.
I did not see him taking the bags from the helicopter.
Yeah.
I didn't see it the first time.
Well, there's only 2 scenes of it where you see it and they're real quick. It's just but you could tell it's him if you know and you're looking for it, but if you're not, I can see missing it. Yeah.
So she follows him into the ice glacier, and this whole idea of her legitimately being a journalist, like, hey, I'm going to be writing this story. She has the conversation with Perry and she's like, you know what? I'm going to leak it. Dude, that is the most modern journalism ever.
Mm-hmm.
And I really enjoyed it. Like, it's not this like, oh, I'm going to fight for what's right and, do it on my own. Da, da, da. No. Like nowadays, that's how shit gets out. Like, ironically, that's how shit got out about freaking Zack Snyder's Justice League. There are so many people holding so many pieces of this freaking puzzle that was like, hey, we can't have it connected to us, so we'll throw it whichever way a couple times and see what happens.
We're about to see it. Oh, I'm so excited, man. We're about to see it. Oh my goodness gracious. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. But yeah, Amy Adams. whenever, once again, one of these castings that I heard about, and I was like, I guess her and Michael Shannon were the only two castings from this movie that I was just like, I don't know about that. Not that I didn't like her as an actress, I didn't see her as Lois Lane, but now that's all I see is Lois Lane, or her as is Lois Lane. Is in anything I see her in anymore, she's Lois Lane to me, and I love her. I love it. I love her. Her emotion in this.
I was one of those stupid gatekeepers back in the day. Before I saw the movie, I saw her and I was like, that's not Lois. She has red hair. That's Lana Lang. Like, she needs to be Lana. Somebody else needs to be Lois.
Right.
I was stupid in that manner because she is Lois. She plays an excellent Lois. So
100%, man. Her moxie, her attitude, man, everything about the character that she is just great.
For people who don't know, she is kind of going back into this mythos because she, as a young actress, was in one episode of Smallville back in the day.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So her being in this world again, you can say this is technically her second visit to Smallville.
DC does that a lot.
Oh,
they do a lot of callbacks to characters that used to play.
The legacy casting, as Brent would say, or the squad cast would say. Another one, gosh, what was it? I know there was another one. Oh, well, that's the thing. Also, I know you're not a big fan of the Donner movies, but when Clark and Lois, or Superman and Lois, excuse me, when Superman and Lois go up to Zod's ship the very first time, and the squad of army is behind them. You can't get a clear picture of them. You would have to really pause it at the right moment. The baby Superman from the Donner movies, the one that picks up the truck, is in this movie.
Really? That's pretty cool.
Yeah. There's also the guy that's in Antarctica that is on the computer that has like Mars on the background or whatever. He was on Smallville. The gentleman that says the word Superman, the very first time you hear the word Superman in this movie, that guy was on Smallville. Like, Zack, if he did it on purpose, bravo on him. Or if it was just the casting director that just wanted to have some fun. Either way, they had a lot of Easter eggs in here that if you were a fan of Superman, you would know.
Oh, that is pretty cool. Yeah, I didn't know a couple of those things. I didn't know about the baby thing. I think I heard something like that before, but couldn't remember what it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is pretty cool, man. And I do love that. And it's just DC in general does that, man. You can even look at like DC CW shows, having cast members come back from years and years past on old shows, all kinds of different stuff, man. I love I love what DC does, comics, animated, small screen and big screen. I'm sorry, I don't care what anybody says. It's just great. I'm not saying I don't love everything else too, because there's really not much I don't like.
Yeah.
To be truly honest with you, I like most everything. But man, for me, it's just DC stuff. And this, as it stands right now, Man of Steel, my second favorite movie of all time. Although I don't want to drop it from that ranking, or it sounds bad to say I want to come out of that ranking. I'm hoping that by the end of the night, it's the third favorite movie of all time, and another one sneaks up into the top one.
Zack Snyder's Justice League. I will say this: I have been waiting for the resurrection of Superman for a very long time. Even before Justice League. So they're in the animated movies, because I know eventually you will do more of those. The very first animated movie that DC did was Superman Doomsday, which was a life and death of Superman story. And animation was horrible. It was horrendous. I hated it. Like, it made Superman look like an old man. It almost had like this weird Frank Miller type look to it. And it was just like, I don't like it. Then years later, going into 2018, 2019, they make this Death of Superman and the Reign of Superman, the two-parter.
Right.
And that was closer to it. That's awesome. Like, I enjoy it. But of course, it was in their overall story of what the animated movies were going to do. So, and that was kind of until, of course, the end with Apocalypse War. Then you get this. I see Doomsday for the very first time in BVS. I'm freaking out. Dude, I did not bawl, but when I saw Superman get stabbed by Doomsday, and then Lois and Wonder Woman lower, right? No, is it?
Yeah, it's Wonder Woman lowering him down to Batman.
Yeah.
And Lois, yeah.
When I see them lowering Clark, Abby looked to me in the theater and she said, "Are you crying?" And I just like wiped a tear off. Dude, it was beautiful. It was sad. There was emotion to it. Like, it made me legitimately like feel like I just lost Superman.
Yeah. Well, and just that scene, because Superman gets stabbed and then you see him grab and pull it closer so he can pick the spear in. Like, that's just awesome to see that. Before BVS came out, I had a friend who was reading an article about Suicide Squad, and it was with the synopsis for Suicide Squad had leaked or something like that, and he read it to me, and I got spoiled that Superman was going to die. I didn't tell anybody or try to spoil it for anybody, but I got spoiled that. So I'm going into this movie knowing, okay, Superman dies, because the plot that came out, and it was like, after the events of Superman's death, this and this and this happened in Suicide Squad, and I was like, oh, Superman's death, okay. So when I'm watching the movie, when he goes up with Doomsday and they hit him with a nuke and Superman dies, or not dies, but you think he's dead, I was like, oh, that's it right there. That they were giving you something. It was a red herring or something. They were trying to fool you, saying Superman dies, and there he is, and he's going to come back to life and come back down. Then he really died, and I was like, oh, he really dies. I was like, oh my goodness, they went there. Okay, well, I mean, I guess, but if you're going to bring Doomsday in, I guess you got to kill him.
Yeah. So. And I saw somebody today, or I think it was late last night, again, complaining about character designs. Somebody had said, oh, it looks like Zack Snyder just put copy paste on all of these alien designs, talking about Doomsday, Darkseid, and now Steppenwolf. And people need to understand, and I know that it's already like 6 years like from what BVS was. At the point where Superman is killed by Doomsday and kills Doomsday, Doomsday was not at his full evolved form.
Right.
He still was like in his baby form. So,
and if you even look in the comics, it's even like that in the comics. In Death of Superman, Doomsday doesn't start out as this thorny, the classic Doomsday look. Like, he starts out, I think, with like a green mask on, right?
Yeah, it's a
green
on,
and starts to kind of rip through it.
It's a green jumpsuit. And if people thought that Zack Snyder was going to put a green jumpsuit on a giant ass alien, I'm sorry, then you're stupid. Like, there is no rhyme or reason at all in that movie for him to be wearing that jumpsuit, because, believe it or not, these things need to make sense for the world that they are in. So what did he do? He literally made the Doomsday body out of Zod's body. If you remember, like, when you see Doomsday for the very first time, he has the scar from his freaking forehead that he got from freaking Jor-El. Like, if you look at Doomsday, he has the scar from his forehead from when him and Jor-El were fighting right before Clark got sent off to Earth.
I actually don't think I ever noticed that, but I'll have to go back and look at it. I'm sure I'm going to watch that one again. So, oh, that's crazy, man. We've graduated from MOS to BVS. You see that? That's how great this universe is. We can just travel like that. But hey, man, it is midnight. I want to go watch some of this Zack Snyder red carpet stuff. Are you watching at 3 a.m. I guess for you 2 a.m.?
Yeah.
So you're going to watch it. So do you want to do an immediate reaction after you get done watching it?
I can.
Spoiler free, just a couple of minutes, just to kind of geek out about it. I mean, like the 10, 15 minutes, maybe, if even that.
Yeah.
Not like I said, no spoilers because I don't want to put anything out immediately. But I'll hit you up, man, because I'll be up. I'm up for the rest of the night. For anybody who's listening, everybody checking us out, we're 3 hours away from Zack Snyder's Justice League, and I'm excited about it.
Whew.
So I'm gonna go drink some coffee, get prepared.
All right.
All right, man. I'll talk to you later, buddy.
See you.